Mr. Speaker, I rise today to urge members to support H.R. 2453, the Mark Twain Commemorative Coin Act. This legislation will allow the United States Treasury to mint $1 and $5 commemorative coins in 2016 in recognition of the important legacy of Mark Twain. Surcharges on the sale of the coins will benefit 4 institutions that either bear Mark Twain's name or focus on the study of his work: the Mark Twain House and Museum in Hartford, Connecticut, University of California, Berkeley, Elmira College, New York, and in my congressional district, the Mark Twain Boyhood Home and Museum in Hannibal, Missouri. The sale price of the coins will cover all real and amortized costs of production and marketing costs, so that the entire program will be produced at no cost to the taxpayers. I would like to thank my colleague, Representative John Larson of Connecticut, who first introduced this legislation in the 110th Congress. The gentleman from Connecticut and I share an admiration of Mark Twain and have made it a priority to see this legislation through. I appreciate his hard work on collecting all of the signatures on his side of the aisle, and together we've made it happen. I'd also like to thank the Missouri congressional delegation for their support. When I first announced my intentions to introduce the Mark Twain Commemorative Coin Act, all 8 of my colleagues immediately came on board to help advance this legislation. I want to acknowledge the Boyhood Home and Museum Executive Director Dr. Cindy Lovell and the museum's curator Henry Swift, as well as their dedicated staff, for the incredible work to promote awareness and appreciation of the life and works of Mark Twain. Importantly, I would like to thank Chairman Baucus, Ranking Member Frank, Speaker Boehner, and Majority Leader Cantor for their assistance and cooperation in getting the bill scheduled for consideration in this House. A true American figure, Samuel Longhorn Clemens, better known to the world as Mark Twain, was born and raised in Missouri amidst the turmoil of the American Civil War. Twain's boyhood home in Hannibal, Missouri, inspired settings of some of his most beloved stories and helped shape his views on violence and injustice. The Mark Twain Boyhood Home and Museum in Hannibal commemorates the childhood of a man who grew up to be one of the most recognized names in literature. The museum opened its doors in 1912 and was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1962. I'd also like to recognize the museum for its upcoming 100th anniversary, a milestone which will be celebrated on May the 15th. Twain would eventually move to Hartford, Connecticut, where he settled and began to work on what would become his most famous work, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Hartford is home to the Mark Twain House and Museum, dedicated to educating people across the nation and around the world about Twain, his works, and the time period in which he lived. In New York, Elmira College breathes new life into the history of Mark Twain, offering fellowships for research on the author. Elmira College also hosts a Mark Twain conference and provides tours of Twain's study, where he sought refuge to write several short stories and some of his most famous novels. The Mark Twain Project at the Bancroft Library at the University of California, Berkeley, houses the Mark Twain Papers, an extensive archive of virtually every document in Twain's hand known to survive. The bill we consider today honors the legacy of a great American and will benefit the institutions that continue to spread awareness and educate the public of his great accomplishments and contributions to society. I urge my colleagues to join me in passing the legislation, which is co-sponsored by 298